Good evening, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, together with the Presidential Communications Office.
We bring you the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news coverage from the People's Television, IBC, Philippine News Agency, Philippine Information Agency, and Presidential Broadcast Service. I'm Princess Habiba Saripauda.
And I'm Joe Fernandez from Radyo Pilipinas. Welcome to
Balitang Pambansa.
Tonight's headlines. Mary Jane Veloso's homecoming tomorrow is proof of government's continuous discussions, consultations, and diplomacy with Indonesia for over a decade. The Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, or PhilHealth Board, greenlights the 284 billion peso budget for next year and hikes selected cases rates by 50%. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and First Lady Luis Liza Araneta Marcos inaugurate the Bagong Pilipinas One-Stop OFW Action Center, which provides efficient services to overseas Filipino workers. The Finance Department recognizes the Marcos administration's whole-of-government approach in maintaining inflation rate within target and addressing rising food prices this year. Authorities inspect and shut down the country's biggest Philippine offshore gaming operator, or Pogo Hub, in Cavite. It's been a long time coming, and for half her life, Mary Jane Veloso has spent it behind bars in a foreign land. And yet, she has captured the hearts of an entire nation, so ready to exalt and celebrate her much-awaited return. At the forefront of a rejoicing nation, the President of the Republic, on whose watch Mary Jane has found good fortune and a way back home. PTV's Kenneth Paciente has more.
Celebrating already.
That is what President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. said before the expected homecoming of Mary Jane Veloso in the Philippines tomorrow. This after her imprisonment in Indonesia for more than a decade for allegedly engaging in the distribution of illegal drugs. It was last night when Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin confirmed the arrival of Veloso while extending gratitude to the Indonesian government for this huge development. According to the Bureau of Corrections, a Philippine delegation is now in Indonesia to facilitate the return of Veloso, headed by Bucor Director General Gregorio Pio Katapang Jr., who leads Oplan Sundunesia. Upon arrival in the country, Mary Jane will undergo a 5-day quarantine at the Correctional Institution for Women as a newly committed PDL, where medical observations such as medical and physical examinations will be conducted to ensure her physical and mental well-being. She will stay at the Reception and Diagnostic Center, not exceeding 60 days, with 55 of those days dedicated to orientation, diagnostic evaluation, and initial security classification. After that, she will be transferred to her assigned cell based on the resolution of the Reception and Diagnostic Center Classification Board. After the 5-day quarantine period, which ends on December 24, Veloso's family will be allowed to visit her. The Bucor also assured that Veloso and her alleged illegal recruiter will be detained in separate facilities to ensure they do not physically encounter each other. And now that Mary Jane will fall under the jurisdiction of the Philippines, is it possible for the government to grant her clemency? The palace has this to say.
We will not talk about that yet. Let's wait for her repatriation because it's premature to speculate on what we will do.
The official also did not confirm when asked if the Indonesian government has sought a grace period to cover the rest of her sentence and for Veloso to serve before the palace decides to grant her executive clemency.
It's premature. I have yet to see the documents, so I cannot address that.
Meanwhile, Bersamin added not to rule out a meeting between Mary Jane and the president when she arrives in the country. Mary Jane has been in prison in Indonesia for over a decade after she was arrested at Yogyakarta Airport in 2010 for having a stash of over 2.5 kilograms of high-grade heroin in her suitcase. She was sentenced to death the same year, but her execution was postponed in 2015 after a last-ditch effort by then-President Noynoy Aquino and the DFA that led to a temporary reprieve granted by the Indonesian government. From PTV Manila, Kenneth Paciente, Balitang Pambansa.
Cesar and Celia Veloso have traveled a few times to Yogyakarta, where their daughter had been in detention since 2010. With her impending return less than 10 hours away, their joy overflows, but the feeling of relief is still incomplete, with Mary Jane not having a guaranteed get-out-of-jail card once she is back home. PTV's Bien Manalo tells us more.
Celia and Cesar Veloso are extremely happy about the impending return of their daughter, Mary Jane Veloso, from Indonesia. They said it was an early Christmas gift for their family.
masayang-masaya po kami. Pinag-aandaan po namin talaga yung pagsalubong sa kanya. Baga doon na po kami sa airport matulog kay hintay sa kanya. Sabik na po kami.
Masayang-masaya po. Makita na namin ang aming anak na para yakapin, halikan. Talagang sabik na kami. Masayang-masaya po kami na makakauwi na ang aking anak.
They also thank the government for Mary Jane's homecoming, even the help and support they have received.
Magpapasalamat po ako sa ating gobyerno, lalong-lalo na po si Secretary Kakdak na nagbigay po sa amin ng pagpagawa ng bahay. Ito na po, pinaayos namin yung aming bahay. At lalong-lalo na po yung patutuluyan ni Mary Jane. Inayos po namin dahil siya po ang mismong nag-announce sa yung aking anak na ipagawa namin mabuti, pagandahin ang kanyang bahay.
Celia and Cesar also pleaded and begged the president to grant executive clemency to Mary Jane.
Yung po mga panawagan namin at saka yung hiling po namin sa ating Pangulo na sana pagdating ni Mary Jane dito sa Pilipinas, ibigyan na po niya yung clemency para po makasama naman namin si Mary Jane. Halos 15 taon po namin hindi nakasama si Mary Jane. Sana ipagkalob na po niya ngayon. Ibigyan na po niya regalo at pamasko sa aming pamilya.
According to the Department of Foreign Affairs, Veloso is scheduled to return to the country tomorrow at 6 a.m. This is the result of sustained discussions and acts of diplomacy between the two countries. On her expected return, the government has previously assured assistance for her and for her family as well. From PTV, Bien Manalo, Balitang Pambansa.
Senators thanked the Indonesian government following the transfer of Mary Jane Veloso back to the country. According to Senator Amy Marcos, she's advocating for a transfer of sentenced persons agreement which would allow Filipinos convicted abroad to serve their sentences in the country. She said this could be achieved through agreements with other nations. Meanwhile, Senate Majority Leader Francis Tolentino emphasized the homecoming of Veloso is a significant achievement of the Marcos administration. Representative Ron Salo of Kabayan Party List commended President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s leadership in facilitating Veloso's return, highlighting it as a reflection of his genuine love, care, compassion, and commitment to the welfare of Filipino migrant workers.
Kaya papasalamat ako sa Indonesia sa kabila ng kakulangan ng ating kasunduan sa kanila tungkol dito, talagang pinaunlakan pa rin ang ating hinihiling.
So yung justisyang nakamtan, bagaman sa ibang lugar, ay magandang pamasko. Hindi lang sa pamilya ni Mary Jane, kundi sa mga similarly situated na FWs na nagkakaso sa ibang bansa.
On the other news, the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation or PhilHealth Board approved a 284 billion peso corporate operating budget for 2025. The figure is 10% higher than 259 billion peso this year. Aside from this, the board also approved the Benefits Committee or BANCOM approved increases in selected cases by as much as 50%. Meanwhile, a report from the Philippine News Agency says Department of Finance Secretary Ralph Recto believes PhilHealth not only has enough funds to meet its obligations, but can also actually even improve on its benefit packages for 2025.
We will improve more on our collections. We will make our collections also more convenient for our public or for our members to pay. Gaya po nung ngayon, meron na po kaming na-accredit na GCash, pwede na rin po siyang gamitin as a method of payment. And of course, making sure po na lahat po ay nakakapagbayad. Also, to make our funds more sustainable is we will be continuously monitoring our benefits and the utilization. And of course, improving on our fraud detection po.
Even with no subsidy, PhilHealth assured it will be able to provide the benefits its members badly need from them. Meanwhile, a lawmaker warned the public about how and where they get their information from, especially in connection with the approved national budget. PTV's Melales Moras has more.
Walang dapat ikabahala ang ating mga kababayan. Sagot po kayo ng PhilHealth. what we can assure in any case is that PhilHealth management will optimize our resources and will safeguard every peso entrusted to us and make sure it is spent effectively and responsibly.
This was assured by the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation or PhilHealth amid the discussions on their zero subsidy allocation under the proposed 2025 national budget. During today's hearing of the House Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability, PhilHealth President and Chief Executive Officer Emmanuel Ledesma Jr. emphasized having sufficient funds, assuring an uninterrupted flow in services.
As of October 2024, PhilHealth holds a surplus of 150 billion pesos and a total reserve of 280 billion pesos, complemented by an investment fund nearing 490 billion as of November 2024. These figures clearly demonstrate that PhilHealth is financially robust, well-positioned to sustain operations, and fully capable of addressing the healthcare needs of our 115 million members.
The Department of Health, which oversees PhilHealth, also assured the continued operations of the agency, contrary to criticisms from some sectors.
Maraming pera ang PhilHealth, higit pa sa reserve fund ceiling na pinapayagan ng batas. Inaprubahan ng board kahapon ang mas mataas na benepisyo at isang budget para sa 2025 ng PhilHealth na kumikilala na dapat gumastos ng mas malaki ang PhilHealth para mas maliit ang gagastusin ng mga pamilya.
Congress had earlier received a barrage of criticisms for cutting the budget of certain agencies such as PhilHealth and the Department of Education under the 2025 budget proposal. However, House Deputy Speaker David J.J. Suarez insists,
naniniwala naman ako sa naipasa po nating version for the 2025 budget. The government and the country can be rest assured that the programs, the projects, and the policies to further push the country forward will be implemented well.
House Assistant Majority Leader Jude Asidre also issued this warning.
Be very careful kung kanino kayo nakikinig kasi meron lang talaga na nandyan para manggulo lang.
In an interview, presidential son and House Senior Deputy Majority Leader Sandro Marcos asserted his full support for the positions his father holds on issues on the budget.
The president is my father. I support him in whatever he says and whatever he hopes to achieve.
From PTV Manila, Melalas Moras, Balitang Pambansa.
The Department of Education has utilized 89% or 28.5 billion pesos of its 32 billion peso computerization program budget from 2022 to 2024. This, according to DepEd Undersecretary for Finance Annalyn Sevilla. The funds have been allocated to improve technology infrastructure in schools across the country. The ongoing efforts aim to enhance digital learning and support the department's educational initiatives.
Senate President Francis Escudero says if he wants to, the president can augment the budget of the Department of Education through its unused funds, which could reach billions of pesos. This, the Senate leader says, could be used to fund the DepEd's computerization program after the Bicameral Conference Committee decreased the agency's budget for next year. He disclosed this option will prevent a scenario where the chief executive would have to veto some of the items in the General Appropriations Act just to be able to fill in the allocation needed by the DepEd. Also, the Senate President pointed out from 2022 up to 2024, 70% of the 51.5 billion pesos earmarked for the DepEd's computerization program was unspent. He added Congress looks at not only the purpose of the fund but also the capacity and ability of the agency to actually spend it.
It's a big if. May savings ba talaga? Sa dinami-dami, sa limpak-limpak na salapin na linagay sa program, talaga bang sigurado tayo? Hindi tayo nakakasigurado.
May mga nangyari na yan dati, di ba? May mga presidents tayo, yung seafarers 3 times. But the president can always call for a special session kahit nakabakasyon.
No longer will migrant Filipino workers needlessly struggle for their documentary requirements for their work and abroad for departure from the country. A one-stop shop and service hub that can only be described as ultimate OFW friendly. PTV's Kenneth Paciente runs down the features and services it offers.
4 years as an OFW in Saudi Arabia, Gabriel admitted it was not easy to handle the required paperwork needed in leaving the country.
Mahirap talaga kasi lalo na yung first time ko po mag-abroad, mahirap talaga kasi kukuha ka ng ang daming kinukuha before na mga requirements.
This experience of OFWs is what the government aims to address. That is why President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and First Lady Luisa Araneta Marcos led the inauguration of the Bagong Pilipinas One-Stop Shop OFW Action Center. This is part of the new building of the Department of Migrant Workers in Makati City. According to the President, this is just one of many government measures to repay the sacrifices of OFWs through faster and more efficient processes for their needs.
Ang Action Center ay hindi lamang isang opisina. Isa itong simbolo ng mabilis, maayos, at pinagsama-samang serbisyo para sa ating mga OFW. Layunin nito gawing mas madali ang kanilang proseso mula sa reintegrasyon, legal na tulong, hanggang sa pagsasana at iba pang serbisyong kailangan nila.
The Action Center will serve as a pathway so OFWs no longer have to struggle. Among the services offered here are their needs from departure, throughout their time working abroad, and up to when they return to the Philippines. The services of other government agencies such as SSS, Pag-ibig, PhilHealth, TESDA, Department of Agriculture, DOH, DOLE, DTI, and others are also available here.
Sa ating mga OFW na nagbabalik bansa, sa halip na maabala pa kayo sa mahabang pila at magulong proseso, bubungad na sa inyo ang ayos at mabilis na sistema upang makuha ninyo ang serbisyo, benepisyo at programa ng ating pamahalaan. Gayon din, para sa isang kababayan nating magsisimula ng paglalakbay bilang OFW, matutulungan kayo dito sa bawat hakbang sa inyong pag-a-apply. Simula sa kontrata, legal na proteksyon, hanggang sa pagsasanay. Tinitiyak natin sa bawat sulok ng mundo, may gobyernong handang tumulong sa inyo.
OFWs can also use the space allocated for them as a rest area while taking care of their documents without having to pay any fees. The President again assured that the government will continue to strive to speed up processes, such as the launch of the eGov.ph app. He also stressed that the government is focused on creating more opportunities here in the Philippines.
Sa ilalim ng ating pamahalaan, tinitiyak natin na ang bawat Pilipino, lalo na ang ating mga manggagawa sa iba't ibang bansa, ay makaramdam ng malasakit at mabilis na serbisyo mula sa ating pamahalaan. Higit pa rito, ito ay isang paalala ng mas maliwanag na kinabukasan na itinataguyod natin para sa bawat Pilipino. Isang bansang hindi kailangan lisanin pa para makahanap ng disenteng trabaho. At para sa mga pumipiling magtrabaho sa ibang bansa, sigurado silang buo ang suporta ng pamahalaan.
From PTV Manila, Kenneth Paciente, Balitang Pambansa.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and First Lady Luisa Araneta Marcos spearheaded the Pamaskong Handog sa Pamilyang Pilipino in Malacanang, specifically for the families of repatriated overseas Filipino workers from Lebanon and Israel. These new heroes and their families were given the opportunity to enter Malacanang. Several OFWs who have represented the country around the world were honored. They also received early Christmas gifts from the OWA, PAGCOR, and PCSO. Additionally, some OFWs were given new homes, condominium units, livelihood assistance from DMW, and other gifts. The chief executive takes pride in the fact that the world views Filipino workers as unique due to their talent, diligence, and determination at work.
Yan, sa Saudi Arabia, ganun din ang sinasabi sa akin. Sa London, ganun din ang sinasabi sa akin. Sa England, sa Italy. Kahit saan ako pumunta, ganyan ang sinasabi. At ang kasunod, pagka sinasabi, ang galing ng Pilipino, hangang-hanga kami sa mga Pilipino, gustong-gusto namin. Ito na yung kasunod. meron pa ba? Sinasabi, inuubos yun lahat ng mga manggagawa namin. Pero ganun kasikat, ganun kaganda ang reputasyon ng Pilipinas. Ganun kaganda ang reputasyon ng Pilipino. Dahil sa inyo, dahil sa inyong galing, dahil yung pagsisikap, dahil iba ang Pilipino, dahil hindi lamang yung trabaho ang ginagawa. Kung hindi talagang may malasakit.
The Department of Finance said the Marcos administration made extra effort to shield the purchasing power of the Filipinos from soaring food prices, successfully keeping inflation within target range in 2024. According to Finance Secretary Ralph Recto, the 2024 inflation rate is within target levels despite challenges thanks to government efforts on food security, enabling interest rate cuts to boost economic growth. DOF further added the positive domestic inflation outlook enabled the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas to be the first in ASEAN to start its monetary policy, reducing policy interest rates by a total of 50 basis points and lowering reserve requirements for financial intermediaries by 250 basis points to boost growth.
The low pressure area or LPA over the east of Mindanao has developed into tropical depression Kirubin. Based on the latest Pag-asa advisory, the center of the depression was estimated to be 215 km east-southeast of Davao City or 245 km east of General Santos City. Tropical depression Kirubin is moving slowly in a south-southeastward direction. It has maximum sustained winds of 45 km per hour near the center, with gustiness of up to 55 km per hour and a central pressure of 1,000 for high pressure area. The extent of the tropical cyclone's winds reaches strong winds extending outwards up to 180 km from the center, potentially affecting surrounding areas.
Ako po si Licio Toscano, nangyaraan sa Barangay Manubuan. Hindi lingid sa atin na kung walang titulo ang iyong sinasaka or yung lupa, hindi ka talaga makapa-improve. Pero ngayon, makikita man natin na yung pursigi, aming mag-asawa, talagang nandyan na. Kaya nagpasalamat kami dahil dito. Ito ang nagpapalakas sa amin na magtanim upang yung kinabukasan namin masagana. Kaya masasabi ko na itong titulo na ito ay talagang nagpapatibay at saka nagpapalakas sa isang tao. Pero kung wala kang ganito titulo, medyo alanganin ka. Kasi alam natin sa kapanahonan ngayon, mahirap. Mahirap ang mag-improve sa lupa na yung sinasaka. Pero kung meron ka ng titulo, lahat-lahat talagang magagawa mo. Kaya malaki talaga ang pasalamat namin. Kung wala kang lupa na siguro na iyong-iyo, hindi ka makapagpupundar ng maganda. Kaya salamat ako sa DAR Municipal level at sa provincial level, lalong-lalo na sa ating DAR Secretary at sa ating Presidente, mahal na Presidente, Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr.
Government's implementation of the all-out ban on pogos in the country was punctuated with the permanent closure of an establishment of such nature in Kawit, Cavite. Various government agencies took part in the operation to ensure the hub will no longer be able to operate. PTV's Ryan Lesiges has the details.
Ito na lang po ang natitirang pogo or offshore gaming hub sa buong Pilipinas. So pag sa umagang ito na isinara na po natin ito, wala na pong hub ang natitira dito sa atin sa buong bansa.
Several days before the deadline of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s ultimatum, all operations of Philippine Offshore Gaming Operators or POGOs in the country have been shut down. Earlier today, the POGO in Island Cove, Kawit, Cavite was inspected and permanently closed. DILG Secretary Junvic Rimulya, PNP Chief Police General Romel Francisco Marbil, PAGCOR, and PAOK led the posting of notice of closure on establishments inside the Pogo Hub. DILG, together with the PNP, PAOK, PAGCOR, and DOJ also locked the buildings completely. During this morning's inspection, abandoned gaming rooms were revealed. Employee quarters were also vacant. These include 15,000 Filipinos and 15,000 foreign workers.
Nakikita nyo ito sa self-sustaining community, may restaurant, may beauty parlor, may KTV, may grocery. So, ayan nung peak niya, may mga 30,000 na tao dito. Ngayon, zero. At least yung nag-aalaga na lang ang natitira dito.
He also mentioned that the foreign workers' working visas have been downgraded to tourist visas, making it impossible for them to stay longer in the country. The PNP and PAOK assured to monitor the possible emergence of Pogo guerrilla operations that might use business process outsourcing or BPO as a cover. Meanwhile, PAGCOR stated that the closure of Pogos in the country could result in the loss of no less than 20 billion pesos annually for the Philippines.
Makikita nyo po, pagtutulungan po namin, after January 1, you will see ang powerful po ng gobyerno laban sa ganito. We will make sure, matutupad po yung pangako ng presidente natin na wala pong Pogo by January 1.
Sa katapusan po, pagpasok po ng first week, mag-i-enforce, magsisimula na po tayo ng enforcement. Yung po yung mga Pogo hubs na, yung mga Pogo, small-scale Pogo operations na magtatago po doon sa mga hotels, sa mga resorts, at sa mga bahay-bahay.
From PTV Manila, Ryan Lisiges, Balitang Pambansa.
Since the year kicked off more than 11 months back, the Department of Agriculture has been steadily beefing up its grain stockpile for the lean and mean months. And they have arrived. But close to 4.5 million metric tons of nation's staple grain will suffice to tide it over at least 3 months. Our Noel Talakay on the state of sufficiency in rice the country enjoys right now.
Despite the typhoons and other calamities that hit the country this year and left crops and produce in agricultural ruin, the Department of Agriculture, or DA, has assured the public the country still has enough supply of rice to last up to the first quarter of 2025. Thank a lot to imported rice that has saved the day to tide the country over during days of lean. According to the data of DA, the Philippines has imported 4.48 million metric tons of rice from January to December this year.
At kung titingnan yung estimates, posibleng pumalo hanggang 4.7 million metric tons yung imports. Good for us to have 3-month supply ng bigas until next year, which will be enough to carry us out until the next harvesting season.
The MESA says the projection of rice production in the country might only be good for 19.29 million metric tons and not enough to cover the buffer stock.
Ang projection ng rice program, bababa yung yung production at 19.3 million metric tons.
He also explains how the typhoons and El Nino combined to adversely affect production and supply of produce. Like in palay or unhusked rice, he says the current and initial amount of palay loss in the country has reached 800,000 metric tons. In Western Visayas, the eruption of Mount Canlaon destroyed crops, property, and personal stuff in the initial amount of more > 1 million pesos.
Ang latest damage report sa Canlaon due to the volcanic activity is at 1.39 million, affecting 40 farmers. At karamihan nito pa rin ay sa rice at 620,000, corn 350,000, and high value 420,000.
The MESA also assures the public of no increase in the prices of vegetables and other agricultural produce coming from Western Visayas because the number of affected farmers is still few and located in affected areas which are very concentrated. From PTV Manila, Noel Talakay, Balitang Pambansa.
And that concludes our rundown of the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news and information from all across the nation. From Radyo Pilipinas, I'm Joe Fernandez.
This is your trusted news source, always ready to inform and serve the Filipino people. Catch Balitang Pambansa again tomorrow at 7 a.m., 12 noon, 6 p.m., and 9:30 p.m. for more updates and developments. From Radyo Pilipinas, I'm Princess Habiba Saripauda, and this is
Balitang Pambansa.